Trump administration pinpoints foreigners as terror convicts. A report from the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice singles out beneficiaries of chain migration and the diversity visa lottery as talks for a DACA fix appear imperiled. The Trump administration on Tuesday released a report showing that nearly three-quarters of defendants convicted in U.S. federal court of international terrorism-related offenses over a 15-year period were foreign-born. Of 549 individuals convicted of terrorism charges between September 11, 2001, and the end of 2016, 402, or about 73%, were born overseas. That figure includes people convicted of charges related to acts that they committed or planned to commit overseas, suspects, in other words, who were not in the U.S. until they were extradited to stand trial. A Justice Department spokesman said a specific breakdown of such suspects would be made available in future reports. The Justice Department and the Department of Homeland Security jointly released Tuesday's report. Officials did not provide a tally of how many of the 402 foreign-born individuals convicted of terrorism-related charges may have been involved in planning an attack on U.S. soil. The report also did not encompass acts of domestic terrorism. The report was mandated in March by President Donald Trump as part of an executive order implementing his revised travel ban. It required DHS and the Justice Department to issue a periodic report on foreign nationals in the U.S. who have been convicted of or charged with terrorism-related offenses. Trump has sought to tighten the nation's immigration system and touted the threat of crime and terrorism committed by foreigners in the U.S. Tuesday's report, originally due in September, was released amid politically fraught negotiations over the future of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, an initiative instituted under former President Barack Obama that gives certain young immigrants brought to the country illegally as children protection from deportation. The Trump administration last year announced that it would be winding down the program, putting its future and the fate of hundreds of thousands of so-called dreamers in the hands of Congress. Trump's rescission of DACA was temporarily put on hold by a federal judge last week. Yet lawmakers in the administration still have failed to strike a legislative deal that would save the program, with negotiations clouded by a January 19 deadline by which Congress must pass a measure to fund the government. As a requirement for a deal on DACA, Trump has called for doing away with the U.S. diversity visa lottery program, which offers a limited number of visas to people from countries with relatively low rates of immigration to the U.S., as well as so-called chain migration, the system by which immigrants who are already legally living in the U.S. can bring family members to join them.
Trump and top administration officials have instead said they prefer a merit-based immigration system. In a press call on Tuesday, officials directly connected the report's findings with what they characterized as the threats posed by the country's current immigration system. What they all indicate are fundamental flaws, where we have individuals who are admitted through our flawed immigration system who are not likely to assimilate, thrive and succeed in the United States, and who of course turn their backs on this country and its people after their admission, a senior official said. This highlights why this administration is trying to reform our immigration system and select those individuals based on their merit who will be most likely to thrive, succeed and assimilate in the United States. The official added that the focus of our immigration system should be on assimilating, not people or their children who will take up arms against the United States. The report highlighted instances in which individuals later convicted of terrorism-related charges were originally granted entry to the U.S. through the diversity visa lottery program, or because a family member was already living in the U.S. It cited one incident in which someone was admitted as a refugee. However, officials acknowledged that they did not have an overall breakdown for how many of the 549 individuals convicted of terrorism charges in U.S. federal courts were admitted through any of those three programs, which all involve the vetting of participants. We don't, as of today, have all of those details ready to release. We hope to be able to provide statistical information about the manner of entry of all of these individuals in a future iteration of this report, the senior official on Tuesday's call said. I can assure you that it is more than just cherry-picked cases that is represented here in this report. The official said that of the foreign-born people convicted of terrorism-related charges, these individuals came from a variety of countries, some of which may not be a surprise. When asked later to clarify, the official said that the reference was to countries that have struggled with terrorism within their borders or have been known exporters of terrorism in the past, including Yemen, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, and Iraq. Trump's executive order had also required DHS and the Justice Department to compile data on gender-based violence against women and so-called honor killings committed in the U.S. by foreign nationals, as well as information concerning the number of immigrants who have been radicalized after entry to the United States. The departments in their joint report said that they currently lacked the information needed to compile such data